السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته يا شيخنا. السلام عليكم.
إن الحمد لله نحمده وإياكم ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. In continuation of our book Al-Adab Al-Mufrad by Al-Imām Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Ismāīl Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah, we are still on the chapter on the evil sins connected to disconnecting the ties of kingship. Babu Ismi Qati al-Rahim, the chapter that highlights the sins of the individual that disconnects the ties of kingship. And upon that we are upon hadith number 66. The last hadith we read yesterday was hadith number 65. On hadith number 66, الإمام البخاري رحمه الله حدثنا آدم بن أبي إياس قال حدثنا ابن أبي ذئب قال حدثنا سعيد بن سمعان قال سمعت أبا هريرة يتعوذ من إمارة الصبيان والسفهاء فقال سعيد بن سمعان فأخبرني ابن حسن we'll come back to that inshallah al-Juhani أنه قال لأبي هريرة رضي الله عنه ما آية ذلك قال أن تقطع الأرحام ويطاع المغوي ويعصى المرشد. ما آية ذلك؟ قال لأبي هريرة رضي الله عنه ما آية ذلك؟ قال أن تقطع الأرحام ويطاع المغوي ويعصى المرشد. الإمام البخاري رحمه الله محمد بن إسماعيل, he has reported this hadith from his Shaykh rahimahullah Adam ibn Abi Iyas Abu al-Hasan al-Asqalani. Al-Imam Adam ibn Abi Iyas, he is Abu al-Hasan al-Asqalani, and Abu Iyas is Abdur-Raūf, so he is Adam ibn Abdur-Raḥmān Abu al-Hasan al-Asqalani rahimahullah. He was a well-known student of Al-Imam Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah. He also lived during the time of Al-Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal in Asqalan, and he used to send messages of assurance, messages of nasiha to Imam Ahmad. Al-Imam Adam ibn Abi Iyas was well known for sticking to the Sunnah rahimahullah. The scholars usually say that كان متعبدا من خياره عباد. كان متعبدا, he is well known for sound worship rahimahullah. وكان من خيار العباد, and he is from amongst the best of those who give servitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The reason why I have mentioned this, and we continue to mention it regarding the scholars, is that talabul ilm, seeking knowledge, ascribing to knowledge, learning Islam must not leave out worship and piety. The path of seeking knowledge, memorizing Quran, learning Nahu, learning Sarf, learning Hadith, learning Fiqh, learning Mawarith, learning all other aspects of Islam that we learn and pay attention to must not leave out piety and good worship. This is Al-Imam Adam ibn Abi Iyas. He is widely described with worship. Many of the people think that once they get busy with learning and acquiring knowledge, then there is no need to pay attention to worship. The people think that because people memorize the Quran, people memorize books of Hadith, people memorize books of Law and so on, then there may not be good enough time for worship. This is bad. So you find a lot of young people learning Islam. They will sleep from the night till the next morning. No night devotion to Allah. This is not the way of the Salaf. This is not the way of the early Muslims. May Allah protect us. Al-Imam Adam ibn Abi Iyas كان متعبدا من خيار عباد الله. قال حدثنا ابن أبي ذئب. He is the one who has reported this hadith from his Shaykh Ibn Abi ذئب. Al-Imam Ibn Abi ذئب is Muhammad ibn Abdur-Raūf Ibn Abi ذئب, a well-known scholar of Islam and Sunnah and Fiqh and Hadith. Ibn Abi ذئب. Ibn Abi ذئb, some of the scholars even mentioned that he had compiled his own Muwatta before Al-Imam Malik rahimahullah. And people like Al-Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal considered that he was more knowledgeable than Al-Imam Malik. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal said so, rahimahumullah. This is just by way of mentioning the extent of the knowledge of this Imam, Ibn Abi ذئb, Muhammad ibn Abdur-Rahman. When Al-Imam Ahmad spoke about him, he said, كان ابن أبي ذئب رجلا صالحا. كان ابن أبي ذئب رجلا صالحا. Al-Imam Ahmad, Imam Ahl Sunnah al-Jama'ah, he says, كان ابن أبي ذئب رجلا صالحا. That Al-Imam Muhammad ibn Abdur-Rahman ibn Abi ذئب كان رجلا صالحا. He was a righteous man. We come back to that point again. Learning, studying, acquiring knowledge, getting busy with learning must not leave out piety, because the knowledge itself is expected to drive and push us towards maintaining the limits of Allah and connecting ourselves in worship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sticking to His regulations, following His commands, and abstaining from the things that He prohibits. So when a person becomes a person who is busy with learning and teaching and learning and teaching, and then piety becomes something that is not found within, then we understand that the person has not actually learned at all. Much of what the person has are things by which he wants to be proud and arrogant towards the rest of the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, people become proud because of the issues of knowledge when the knowledge itself has not done the job of the cleansing that it should do with the individual. Because the knowledge should cleanse the individual from these negative and lowly behaviors. May Allah protect us all. These are our salaf. Al-Imam Ibn Abi ذئب, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal said, كان ابن أبي ذئب رجلا صالحا يأمر بالمعروف. يأمر بالمعروف. He would command the people to do that which is good. وكان يشبه بسعيد ابن المسيب. كان يشبه بسعيد. He used to be mentioned to be like Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib. Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib is considered as Sayyid al-Tabi'in, and he was well known for his knowledge of Hadith, for his knowledge of the Quran, for his knowledge of Fiqh, and for his being an ardent worshipper. You can see the line of scholarship and worship from where Al-Imam Al-Bukhāri has reported this hadith. This is what we should be, and this is how we should be. This is the isnad of this hadith, and the tabi'i of this hadith is Sa'id ibn Sam'an. Sa'id ibn Sam'an is the one who said, سمعت أبا هريرة يتعوذ من إمارة الصبيان والسفهاء. Sa'id ibn Sam'an said, سمعت أبا هريرة يتعوذ من إمارة الصبيان والسفهاء. سمعت أبا هريرة. I heard Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه يتعوذ من إمارة الصبيان والسفهاء. I heard Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu asking for Allah's protection from or against إمارة الصبيان, the rulership, the leadership of At-Tibyān. The Tibyān is the jamu of the word Sabi, and the Sabi are the children, kids, little ones, kids. Imarat At-Tibyān is the rulership, the leadership, the headship of kids. When little young people, kids, people who are low in their age, become the rulers over the people. Abu Hurairah used to ask for Allah's protection from that. Allah, don't let me witness a time when the affairs of the Ummah will be in the hands of kids, Imāratul Tibyān, kids, young ones, kids, who will be rulers over the people. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu used to ask for Allah's protection from it. Radiallahu anhu was sufaha. Likewise, people who are kids in their mentality, in their intellect, the intellect is low, the age is low, the intellect is also low. The sufaha is the jamu of safi. In a single word, we usually translate and say safi is the foolish person. So what it actually means is someone who is low in intellect. So Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu يتعوذ من إمارة الصبيان والسفهاء. He will ask for Allah's protection from إمارة الصبيان, the rulership of kids, little ones, young boys, young girls. إمارة الصبيان, young people. Call it youth if you want. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu used to seek Allah's protection from that. وَالسُّفَهَا, and likewise the rulership of people with low intellect. Because leadership requires good experience, deep knowledge. Leadership requires good experience, deep knowledge, and a very high sense of responsibility. Leadership requires deep knowledge, good wisdom, and a very, very high sense of responsibility. Of course, with good experience. All of these things don't come except along with age. Good knowledge, deep knowledge, good wisdom, good experience, a very high level sense of responsibility, they don't come except along with age. So when young people who lack all these become the ruler, then Nas'alullah salamat al-afiyah, may we ask for Allah's protection from the consequences of this evil. So Imāratul Tibyān, the leadership of kids, and as-sufaha, and the leadership of people who are low in their intellect, it's the kind of a leadership that is tantamount to bringing about the opposite of what leadership should be. They are the people who should protect the people, but they will not be able to protect the people. Why? They have little knowledge, they have little experience, they have little sense of responsibility, whether because they are kids or because their mindset is low. May Allah protect us. So the rulership becomes like a vehicle, a lorry without a driver running down a hill and it has no brakes. A lorry running down a hill without brakes nor a driver. And the people are loaded in the vehicle. This is what you find when you have Tibyān and Sufaha become the rulers of the people. The Tibyān is the little kids, young boys, little ones, people whose age is little, low age. They don't have age. So they have not learned from life the things that life teaches people. They have not learned from life the things that life itself teaches, apart from what is learned in the four walls of the school. There are lessons that the human beings will learn from life that will be very, that will become a necessary tool for the person who becomes a ruler. The young boy has not learned anything. He's a kid. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know this dunya itself, and he wants to rule over the people in the dunya. There is going to be catastrophe. Likewise, people who are low in their mindset, they are low in their intellect. There is nothing that the individual deserves than required to do in such circumstance than what Abu Hurairah had done. يَتَعَوَّذُ مِنْ إِمَارَةِ الصِّبْيَانِ وَالسُّفَهَاءِ. He would ask Allah's protection against the rulership of Al-Tibyān وَالسُّفَهَاء, the rulership of kids, young boys, وَالسُّفَهَاء, and people who are lowly in their intellect. This hadith up to this point is an authentic hadith. This hadith of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu up to this point is authentic. So if you ask, what is the connection between Abu Hurairah's asking Allah's protection against the leadership of kids and the leadership of people who are young in their intellect, in their intellectual opulence? They are so poor in it. What is the connection between that and disconnecting family ties? The connection between this and disconnecting family ties has been mentioned by the scholars. They explain that when the individual is slowly in his age and is slowly in his intellect, and then he becomes the ruler, he becomes intoxicated by the position of leadership, and then he begins to hurt his parents. He begins to hurt his relatives. He begins to hurt his kith and kin, his brothers, his sisters, his uncles. Why? He thinks he has power. And because he has power, he has low intellect, he has low age, then he begins to behave to them in a manner that is very, very bad. Because now he has low intellect, he has low age. In addition to these two, he has power that intoxicates. So he has no means of having this power balance, and he has nothing to guide him upon how to relate with the people while in power, because he has not the lessons of life, neither has he the lessons of age. So he's just there, and then he has power to himself. So all he can think is, I can command, I can punish, I can deal with, I can destroy, I can fight. This is the agitation of the kids. This is the agitation of the youth. He has no experience in life to know how to resolve issues in a very nice manner. He has no sense of mediation. He has no sense of diplomacy. He has no sense of graduality in achieving affairs. For him, it is just about now. This attitude of the young person combined with authority and power makes him begin to speak to his parents in a manner that is not lawful, makes him begin to relate with his uncles, makes him begin to relate with his brothers, his sisters, his aunts, and all those that he should be nice to, all those that from whom he should prevent evil. He will be now the means of evil to these people. So they begin to dread him. They dread him. They are scared of him. So they run away from him, and then the ties of family and kinship becomes disconnected. So Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu says, سعيد بن سمعان رحمه الله said, سمعت أبا هريرة يتعوذ من إمارة الصبيان والسفهاء. I heard Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu asking for Allah's protection from the rulership of kids and people with low intellect. فقال سعيد بن سمعان, from this aspect onwards is a weak report. From this aspect onwards is weak. Why? Because Sa'id ibn Sam'an said, فَأَخْبَرَنِي Ibn Hasanah al-Juhani. Ibn Hasanah al-Juhani is an unknown reporter. He is Majhul al-Ayn. Ibn Hasanah al-Juhani is Majhul al-Ayn. His real and actual person is not known, and is only known to have had hadith reported from him from Sa'id ibn Sam'an. There is no known clear-cut statement from any scholar from among those who grade reporters of hadith to say that he is a reliable person is known of him more than that he is Abu al-Hasan al-Juhani. So Abu al-Hasan al-Juhani, this is all that is known about him. This is his kunya and his nisbah. What is his name? His name is not known. Where did he live? It is not known. What is the name of his father? It is not known. Who are his teachers? It is not known. Who reported hadith from him? Only one person, Sa'id ibn Sam'an, is known to have reported hadith from him. So the personality of this individual is not known. His life, the scholars of hadith will say that he is what? Majhulul Ayn. This is what the ruling Shaykh al-Albani gave. But others among the scholars, Imām al-Zahabi rahimahullah, he says, La yu'raf, is not known. Is not known. So it means this report from here is a weak report. But the report from the beginning that Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu yata'awwadu min imarat al-Tibyān wa is authentic. There are similar other reports. One of them in Sahih Al-Bukhāri from Abu Hurairah, also others from Musnad Imām Ahmad. There is also the hadith of Abu-Darda in the same meaning, that asking Allah's protection from imarat al-Tibyān wa May Allah protect us from that evil. Then from this statement that Sa'id ibn Sam'an said, فَأَخْبَرَنِي ibn Hasan al-Juhani. Ibn Hasan al-Juhani said, أَنَّهُ قَالَ لِأَبِي هُرَيْرَةَ, that he asked Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, مَا آيَةُ ذَلِكَ, what is the sign, what is the way to recognize the leadership of young people who are also lowly in their intellect? How do we recognize? What are the main things that will be found during their leadership, which makes us understand that this is a fitna? It was said that Abu Hurairah said, radiyallahu anhu, and tuqta' al-arham, family ties will be repeatedly broken. And we had explained why and how imarat al-Tibyān wa the rulership of young people and people who are lowly in their intellect, how their leadership could bring about disconnecting the ties of kinship. The second thing he mentioned, وَيُطَاعَ al-Mughwi. During the imara of At-Tibyān wa the rulership of kids and people who are lowly in their intellect, يُطَاعُ al-Mughwi. Al-Mughwi, the people who lead the people astray will be followed. Those who lead Al-Mughwi, those who lead the people astray will be the ones who will be followed. So young people who will lead the people astray are the ones who will be followed. This is Imarat al-Tibyān wa Sufaha. Those who will be followed are those who will lead the people astray. Drug addicts, people who deal in intoxicants, people who know no other than sexual evil and deviations, people who, when they are seen, it is clearly known that hardly good or any good comes from them, people who invite to lewdness, people who get busy with evil and in all its forms, and who are proud to be involved with evil. May Allah protect us. So these are the people that the people will follow, and the people will be directed to follow them. May Allah protect us. And then he said, وَيُعْفَ الْمُرْشِدِ, and those who will rightly guide the people will be disobeyed. يُطَاعَ الْمُغْوِي, those who will lead the people astray will be followed. وَيُعْفَ الْمُرْشِدِ, and those who will guide the people to the right path will be disobeyed. So you find people of deen, only little will the people listen to them. But when one musician, one singer, one woman, one model, one celebrity says something, everybody follows. And they are made to be the people who are models, people that will be followed, and say, oh, let's follow this. But as for those who will guide them onto the path of goodness, they make jest of them. They make jest of them on the media, they make jest of them in their speech, they make a jest of them in every aspect that you will think of. A professor who is well learned and versed in the matters of the religion, he could say something in the social media. I'm just giving an example, because most of the times when these courses are made, some of the people start thinking and start trying to find out who do they intend. I'm just giving an example of someone who is respected in the community. Okay, remove the fact that he could be a professor, he could be anybody, but who is known for istiqamah upon the deen, who is known for being steadfast upon the religion. And he is very knowledgeable and well guided in his speech and actions, bismillah. He could make a speech and then the people begin to make a jest at him. But when the useless musicians, those who are known with lewdness and drug addiction, make a statement, the people begin to jubilate and follow them. These are the signs that we are under the Imara of At-Tibyān and Sufaha, as long as this hadith is concerned. But do not forget that these three explanations, that tuqta'ul arham, wa yuta'al mubni, wa yu'fal murshid, are not from the aspect of this hadith that is authentic. The part of this hadith that is authentic is the statement that kana Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu yata'awwadu min إمارة الصبيان والسفهاء. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, he would ask Allah's protection from the leadership of kids and the foolish, the leadership of kids and those who are foolish. So this will make us understand that our religion gives a lot of preference to the elders. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said, Al-barakatu ma'a akabirikum. Al-barakatu ma'a akabirikum. O you people of my ummah. Al-barakatu ma'a akabirikum. The blessings are with your elder ones. The blessings are with your elders. Al-barakatu ma'a akabirikum. The blessings are with your elders. The Prophet said to alayhi salatu wasalam in an authentic hadith. Elsewhere the Prophet said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and it is contained in this book Al-Adab Al-Mufrad. He said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, kabbir al-kubra. Kabbir al-kubra. That is, give preference to the elderly ones. Give preference to the elderly ones. And if preference will be given regarding anything which is with respect to rulership and leadership, give preference to your elders. Give preference to your elders. Give preference to your elders. So this is well known from the aspects of the matters of our religion. Even in the matters of knowledge, the elders should be given preference. You will find a case where two people are in a garden. One of them is the teacher, the other one is the student. The teacher asks the question. Before he answers, the student begins to answer. Why can't you keep quiet just upon the fact, upon an excuse that our teachers have kept quiet? Why can't you keep quiet upon the assumed that it could be? Why can't you keep quiet because, our teachers have kept quiet, they are not saying anything? Let us listen to what they will say first. Is that not sufficient for a young person who is learning Islam? To say the reason why he has not spoken is that, look, I have elders, they have not said anything. I have elders on this part. They have not said anything. Let me keep quiet too. That is from the aspects of wisdom. But you know, if the individual is a Safi, the one who is not rightly thinking or very lowly in his age, despite having a number of things that could be pointed to say that he is knowledgeable, it will still reflect some of these inadequacies. And this is the way of the early Muslims, fortunate. When they have their teachers in a place, they never made a statement. They never made a statement. Al-Imām al-Zahabi in Siyar A'lam al-Nubala, he mentioned a situation between Al-Imām Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak and Sufyan ibn Uyayna. These are two great scholars of Hadith and Fiqh and Sunnah. Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak al-Hanbali and Sufyan ibn Uyayna al-Hilaj. Al-Imām al-Zahabi said, rahimahullah, سئل عبد الله ibn al-Mubarak بحضرة سفيان ibn Uyayna. Al-Imam Sufyan ibn Uyayna was present when Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak was asked a question. فقال نهينا أن نتكلم عند أكابرنا. نهينا أن نتكلم عند أكابرنا. And Al-Imam Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak responded and said, نهينا أن نتكلم عند أكابرنا. We have been prohibited from speaking before our elders. we have been prohibited from speaking in the presence of our elders. But today, the young person who struggles to be upon the path of the Salaf, he wants to say everything even before his teacher says it. It is not from good adab. So if he's not going to say it before his teacher says, he is the one who wants to become the ruler over the people in the presence of his father, in the presence of his mother, in the presence of the rest of his relatives who are more elderly, who are perhaps more knowledgeable, who are perhaps more exposed to the religion, who are perhaps more exposed to life and more experienced about life. Because we are going to read from one of the authors in this book in Al-Adab Al-Mufrad, inshallah, that one of the ways to learn is to have age. Age itself teaches the individual. And that knowledge is acquired over the time with good age. So all these things matter. But when the individual becomes intoxicated with power and is unfortunately young in his age, and is unfortunately also young in his intellectual ability, then we expect fitna. May Allah protect us. That was why Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu يتعوذ من إمارة التبيان والسفهاء. This is the hadith that Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri had, with which he ended the chapter on disconnect the sins connected to the one who disconnects the ties of kinship, meaning that the young person in power will far more easily disconnect the ties of kinship. So we ask Allah's protection from the rulership of kids and the rulership of people who are lowly in their intellect. May Allah protect us all. I think that will suffice, inshallah, on that chapter, and we could proceed to the next chapter. Babu uqubati qati'ir rahim fi dunya. Babu uqubati qati'ir rahim fi dunya. The chapter regarding uqubah. For those of us who have the copy of Maktabat al-Huda al-Muhammadi, there is a typographic error on that uqubah. Babu uqubah. It says Babu uqubah, and it is supposed to be Babu uqubah. The first there is missing. Those of us who have the copy of Maktabat al-Huda al-Muhammadi, we can correct that copy. We can correct that expression. That word should be Babu uqubati qati'ir rahim fi dunya. The chapter about the punishments, the evil repercussions of the one who disconnects the ties of kinship in this dunya. We had mentioned some repercussions regarding the hereafter, that the ties of kinship itself will stand up like a creature and it will be asking for its rights. Then we mentioned that la yadkhulul jannah, he will not enter al-jannah. You see, all these are connected to the hereafter. How about this dunya? What is it that will happen to the one who disconnects the ties of kinship in this dunya? Just like we mentioned that if he connects the ties of kinship, it is a means of expanding and having his wealth blessed. It's also a means of having long life. This is also regarding this dunya. So what are the repercussions in this dunya also for the one who disconnects the ties of kinship? This is what we'll be discussing under this chapter, inshallah. That is hadith number 67. In it, Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri said, rahimahullah, حدثنا آدم. Don't forget, that is Adam ibn Abi Iyas. حدثنا آدم قال حدثنا شعبة. That is Al-Imām Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj. قال حدثنا عيينة ibn Abdur-Rahman. عيينة ibn Abdur-Rahman is Abu Malik al-Basri. قال سمعت أبي. His father is Abdur-Rahman ibn Jawshan al-Ghatfani. Abdur-Rahman ibn Jawshan al-Ghatfani. He is Uyayna ibn Abdur-Rahman. So when he said سمعت أبي يحدث, I heard my father reporting. His father is Abdur-Rahman ibn Jawshan al-Ghatfani. قال سمعت أبي يحدث. He said, Abdur-Rahman, Uyayna ibn Abdur-Rahman said, I heard my father reporting. عن أبي بكرة قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. I heard my father reporting from Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu, the eminent companion of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, we mentioned one of the blessings of Allah on Abu Bakr. He had about 40 sons. Abu Bakr, his companion, he had about 40 sons, and they are all known with bravery, they are all known with intellectual opulence, they were all known with deep knowledge. Abu Bakr, he had about 40 sons, radiyallahu anhu. He's an eminent companion of the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. He said, the Prophet sallallahu, the messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam said, ما من ذنب أحرى أن يعجل الله لصاحبه العقوبة في الدنيا مع ما يدخر له في الآخرة من قطيعة الرحم والبصير. ما من ذنب أحرى أن يعجل الله لصاحبه العقوبة في الدنيا مع ما يدخر له في الآخرة من خطيئة الرحم والبغي. ما من ذنب أحرى. There is no sin that is most deserving. There is no sin that is most deserving. أن يعجل الله لصاحبه العقوبة في الدنيا. That is deserving that Allah hastens the punishment of the individual in this dunya. There is no sin that is more deserving of Allah hastening the punishment for that evil person in this dunya, مَعَ مَا يَدَّخِرُ لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ, in addition to what Allah has already prepared for him of punishments in the hereafter, مِنْ قَطِيعَةِ الرَّحِمِ وَالْبَغْيِ, like disconnecting the ties of kinship and aggression or oppression. Disconnecting the ties of kinship, قَطِيعَةُ الرَّحِمِ, and al-baghi, oppressing or being aggressive against the people. They quicken the punishment of Allah upon an individual in this dunya, مَعَ مَا يَدَّخِرُ لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ, in addition to the punishment that he will receive on the day of Qiyam. May Allah protect us. Disconnecting family ties quickly brings the punishment and the anger of Allah upon an individual in this dunya. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, ما من ذنب أحرى أن يعجل الله لصاحبه العقوبة في الدنيا. There is no sin, there is no iniquity. أحرى أن يعجل الله لصاحبه العقوبة في الدنيا, that is more deserving that Allah hastens the punishment against the individual in this world, مع ما يدخر له في الآخرة, in addition to what Allah has prepared for him in the hereafter, من قطيعة الرحم والبغي, like قطيعة الرحم, disconnecting the ties of kinship, والبغي, and aggression. There is a major point of reference here apart from the general understanding that disconnecting family ties brings about the anger of Allah quickly upon an individual in this dunya. That's a major point of reference. There's a major issue or two. The first issue here is that it means the sins that individuals commit, how quickly they bring the anger of Allah upon that individual, they vary in their grades. The grades of the saints vary when you talk about how quickly they bring the anger of Allah upon an individual. Saints vary. Iniquities, they are in different categories. Some quickly bring the anger of Allah upon that individual in this world, and for some of them the anger may be delayed in this world. But some of them, they are very quick to bring the anger of Allah upon an individual. And from amongst those that quickly bring the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon that individual is Qati'atul Rahimi and Al-Bagh. Qati'atul Rahim is disconnecting the ties of kinship, and Al-Bagh is aggression, Al-Zulm, cheating the people. taking over the people's possessions without right, stealing the people's possessions without right, punishing them without right. Whatever you do to a person without right will come under al-baghi. May Allah protect us from. That's why it's usually interpreted as oppression or aggression. Taking over a person's property without right, taking over his land without right, taking over his money without right, taking over, abusing, insulting his personality without right, and all of these, when they happen without right, then the individual is said to be a baghi, a person, an individual who is upon aggression. It means that the punishments of Allah are quick to come to that individual. Abdullah ibn Abbas will also read in this book, Al-Adab Al-Mufrad, in the subsequent chapters. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma was used to saying that لَوْ بَغَى جَبَلٌ عَلَى جَبَلٍ لَدُكَّ الْبَغِي. If it were possible that a mountain would aggress against another mountain, look at how big the mountain could be. Meaning that no matter how big you are, if you direct aggression to a person, Allah can destroy you with that as big as you could be. He says, لَوْ بَغَى جَبَلٌ عَلَى جَبَلٍ. If it were possible that a mountain could aggress against another mountain, لَدُكَّ الْبَغِي. Allah will destroy the aggressing mountain. How about you that you are this so small, but you presume yourself to be so big to the extent that you think yourself justified to be able to aggress and oppress the next person? Are you not afraid that Allah can bring you down? Are you not afraid that Allah can destroy you? May Allah protect all of us. So Allah hates aggression. Allah prohibits aggression. So that's why the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, مَا مِنْ ذَنْبٍ أَحْرَى أَنْ يُعَجِّلَ اللَّهُ لِصَاحِبِهِ الْعُقُوبَةَ فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعَ مَا يَدَّخِرُ لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ قَطِيعَةِ الرَّحِمِ. There is no sin that is more deserving أَنْ يُعَجِّلَ اللَّهُ لِصَاحِبِهِ الْعُقُوبَةَ فِي الدُّنْيا, that for which the individual should have his punishment quickened in this dunya, مَعَ مَا يَدَّخِرُ لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ, in addition to what he has prepared for him in the hereafter, مِنْ قَطِيعَةِ الرَّحِمِ وَالْبَغْيِ. No sin has that urgency of punishment like disconnecting the ties of kinship and being oppressive. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from this evil. The next chapter, inshallah, upon the time that is left, we could quickly do one more hadith, inshallah, even though the hadith is supposed to be one that is full of explanations, but we can quickly read it within the time that we have left today, inshallah. And that is the hadith of the chapter on Babu Laysa al-Wasilu bil-Mukafi. Laysa al-Wasilu bil-Mukafi. ليس الواصل بالمكافئ. The chapter that al-wasilu, the one who connects family ties, is not exactly, or the one who truly connects family ties is not the one who is just able to reciprocate. The one who will be considered to be a person who truly connects the family ties is not just the one who is able to reciprocate. That is, you pay back as you were paid, as you were. When the people do good to you, you do good to them. When your family members connect you, you connect them. This is not exactly what it's all about, connecting the ties of kinship. Oh, you connect the ties of kinship? Yes. Oh, yeah, you connect the ties of kinship? No. Why? They don't behave nicely to me. This is not the A-all and Z-all about connecting family ties. If you connect family ties with those who behave nice to you, you behave nice to them. You are not disconnecting family ties. Of course, you are also connecting family ties. But the best of the levels of connecting family ties is to direct goodness to those who direct evil to you amongst the members of the family. It's a very hard thing to do, but it is the biggest level of the ties of connecting family ties. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave a statement regarding that Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri has placed under this chapter, لَيْسَ الْوَاصِلُ بِالْمُكَافِئِ. And what I will suggest here, inshallah, is that I will be permitted not to read the isnad of this hadith, because reading that isnad will take a little time and require some sort of an explanation. But this hadith is very authentic, an authentic hadith. It also occurs in Shaykh Al-Bukhāri itself by Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri. In it the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, لَيْسَ الْوَاصِلُ بِالْمُكَافِئِ لَيْسَ الْوَاصِلُ بِالْمُكَافِئِ وَلَكِنَّ الْوَاصِلَ الَّذِي إِذَا قُطِعَتْ رَحِمُهُ وَصَلَهَا. لَيْسَ الْوَاصِلُ بِالْمُكَافِئِ وَلَكِنَّ الْوَاصِلَ الَّذِي إِذَا قُطِعَتْ رَحِمُهُ وَصَلَهَا. لَيْسَ الْوَاصِلُ بِالْمُكَافِئِ. It is not the one who can reciprocate good for good, who can pay back good for good, that will be considered as the real person who actually and truly connects family ties. And he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَلَكِنَّ الْوَاصِلَ, the one who really does the job of connecting the ties of kinship, the one who really should be praised and announced and held shoulders high, bi'idhnillah, with a full reward for connecting the ties of kinship. الذي إذا قطعت رحمه وصلها. الذي إذا قطعت رحمه وصلها. He is the one who, when his ties of kinship are disconnected from various angles, when his uncles disconnect him, وصلهم, he will connect them. When his brothers disconnect him, he connects them. When his sister disconnects him, he connects them. These are the real connectors of the ties of kinship. These are those who are truly maintaining the ties of kinship. And we all will understand that it's a level higher than those who only direct good to members of the family, as long as the members of the family direct good to them. Yes, this is one level. But the best of the levels of connecting the ties of kinship is the level of those who, even when the family member connects them, even when the family member direct evil to them, they still try to be nice to themselves, and then they direct evil, they direct goodness to them. They connect them when they disconnect them. That's why the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَلَكِنَّ الْوَاصِلَ الَّذِي إِذَا قُطِعَتْ رَحِمُهُ وَصَلَهَا. But the point is that al-wasil al-ladhi, the one who truly and commendably, very praiseworthy behavior that he does, he is the one who, when he is disconnected, when his ties of kinship is disconnected, when his ties of kinship is broken, wasalaha, he himself still connects the ties of kinship, despite the fact that the ties of kinship is broken from various angles in his family. As far as he is concerned, he makes very good efforts to connect the ties of kinship. We have read 3 hadiths today. The first is the hadith of Abu Hurairah, wherein he was asking Allah's protection from the rulership of kids and people with low intellect. And the sign of this is that tuqta'ul arham, the people will be disconnecting family ties when kids and people with low intellect become the rulers. وَيُطَاعَ الْمُغْوِي, and the people who will mislead the people are those that will be followed. وَيُعْفَى الْمُرْشِدِ, and those who will guide the people upon goodness, they will be disobeyed. And in the chapter that came after that, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made us understand that مَا مِنْ ذَنْبٍ أَحْرَى أَنْ يُعَجِّلَ اللَّهُ لِصَاحِبِهِ الْعُقُوبَةَ فِي الدُّنْيَا. There is no sin for which the evil repercussions could be hastened for an individual in this dunya. مَا يَدَّخِرُ لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ, in addition to what Allah has prepared for him in the hereafter, مِنْ قَطِيعَةِ الرَّحِمِ وَالْبَغْضِ, like the one who disconnects or like disconnecting the ties of kinship and aggression. May Allah protect us. The last hadith we read today is the hadith of Fitrun عن النبي صلى الله عليه حديث of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. The hadith of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. Hadith number 68, the last hadith we read, is the hadith of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, in which the Prophet said صلى الله عليه وسلم ليس الواصل بالمكافئ ولكن الواصل الذي إذا قطعت رحمه وصلها. It is not the one who is able to reciprocate good for good that will be counted to be the one who connects the ties of kinship. As we explained, it is not as if he is not connecting the ties of kinship, but his level of connecting the ties of kinship is lower than the one who وَلَكِنَّ الْوَاصِلَ الَّذِي إِذَا قُطِعَتْ رَحِمُهُ وَصَلَهَا. The one who truly and patiently connects the ties of kinship is the one who, when he is disconnected, he connects the ties of kinship. I think it will be sufficient for us to stop here so that we can entertain a few questions before we call it a day, inshallah. And as we've been saying to us, the next in the series of ahadith that we shall read soon will be about the children. But we still have we still have about 3 chapters left regarding the issues on connecting the ties of kinship before we come on the issues about the children, the girls, the boys, and the good treatment of children as far as the teachings of Islam are concerned. I think we should stop here to request for questions, inshallah, that we could attend. Abu Yusuf. Amin, wa iyyak.
This question is about that question you answered yesterday.
Done.
Regarding linking a child born out of wedlock to his father. So the question is about, can that child inherit his father?
Well, that is what it means. If a woman has no husband, she's known to be free. We should not forget these conditions. If a woman has no husband, she is free, and a man comes at the end of the day to confess that he was responsible for the pregnancy of the man, the pregnancy of the woman, and the child that came therefrom. And there are many other evidences to show that if this happens to a woman without firash, a woman not under marriage, and there is no contest in the matter, we said the majority of the scholars hold that the child should be ascribed to the mother. What that means upon that opinion is that that child can only inherit from the mother, and the issues of connecting the ties of kinship are only having to do with the mother, because that means he's not in any way connected to the man who committed the evils with the woman. This is one opinion, and it is the opinion of the large majority of the ulama regarding this matter. The second opinion regarding this matter is the opinion of some amongst the Tabi'un and some amongst the scholars of Islam that we mentioned yesterday, like Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim. And then amongst the scholars in our own times, Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Utaymin. They give the rule that if the child that has come from that illicit evil with a young girl, the child that has come could be ascribed to that man who did the evil if it is confirmed surely that the girl is not married, she's not under a firash, there's no marriage upon her, and then there is no one contesting that child with the man that had done the evil, and there are clear-cut evidences that this man has actually fathered the boy or the girl from his sinner, then that the child can be ascribed to the man. That because it can be proven that the child is from him, and there is no Shari'i prohibition to say that that child should not be ascribed to him. Different from the case of a woman who is married. If a woman is married, that's why the venture and what we are reading now in social media, that people now begin to ask their wives, oh, go and do DNA test. This is a wrong venture as far as Islam is concerned. When a woman is married to a man, the child that comes from that woman, between the man and the woman, in the period that the man still remains in marriage with her, and she still remains in marriage with him, they are married, the child that comes from that marriage are ascribed only to that man. The man has the children. Why? The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, al-walad lil-firash. The child belongs to the owner of the marriage. So it is wrong for people when they have their wives with them now to start asking the wives, oh yeah, go and make DNA test, as if they suspect her. There is another evil that is connected to that, and that is the evil ascription of sexual indecency to a man, to a woman. That is called al-qadf in Sharia. That is called al-qadf in Sharia. Anyone who does that to his wife will be punished. 80 strokes of the case. And we are not going to accept him as truthful ever in the society. Why? He falsely ascribes sin. He falsely ascribes zina to his wife without evidence. So, and the evidences in the Sharia are just from two aspects. Either the woman confesses to having committed adultery, or that there are four clear-cut witnesses who witness the organs of the man in the woman. This is what makes evidences in the Sharia, not the DNA. Not the DNA. أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِأَحْكَمِ الْحَاكِمِ. Allah is the best of all judges. So the people should not begin to ascribe evil to their wives. Neither should wives begin to ascribe evil to their husbands. People should live together as families, husbands and wives. Protect themselves, protect their honor amongst themselves and live honorably. So, but if there are cases, then there is mula'ana also in Sharia. If the husband feels otherwise, there is mula'ana in the Sharia, and that should be taken care of in the course of the Sharia. Mula'ana is al-li'an, again it is called, wherein the husband and the wife begin to swear about the pregnancy or about the child and things like this. But this is in very, very rare situations. The basic rule is that al-walad lil-firash. The man who has the marriage with the woman is the owner of the child. So when you begin to now start trying to dig a ditch, then you find things that you are not supposed to find, and then the entirety of the community goes into a disarray. So as far as this issue is concerned, whoever to whom the child is ascribed, that is the same person from whom the child will inherit. I've come back to the question properly again. The person to whom the child is ascribed is the person from whom the child will inherit. If the child is ascribed to the mother, upon that opinion, what it means is that he will not inherit from that man who caused the evil. If the child is ascribed to the man, it means he will inherit from that man to whom he or she is ascribed. Whoever has ascription, then those that are ascribed have a right to inheritance. I think that question is clear. I just felt to do a recap of that response yesterday and then arrive at the question that was asked about today. Now,
I
mean,
someone just asked that one, is similar to that one, that the woman got married with a pregnancy of another man to a man. So now, after years of marriage, she confessed that that first child was from another man. Who was the child?
They should go to a court of Sharia. The matter will be investigated and so. I think when we give basic rules regarding issues, we should not be constructing, questions, reconstructing questions. Employ the basic rule and you get the response. In the first place, it is wrong for a woman to marry upon a pregnancy. It is wrong. And I think the woman too will know. But these are the things that women do. So the man acted upon the goodness that he did not know that the woman was married. So the details of this issue, they will be investigated and the appropriate sections of the Sharia will be employed. Let's let's not go back to this issue if the woman is from outside of wedlock. I think the issue is clarified. Allahu Alam. We can go on to the next question.
This one says, a brother knows, is aware, or let's say he's having a share of his daughter that is staying with his mother is committing zina, and that's because the mother cannot handle her. Can he take away the daughter even though the mother will be angry?
Well, the mother should not be angry. This is the issue with women. Many times when women become divorced or separated from their husbands, they want to vent the anger on the husband to take away the child, even when they know that it's not the best for the child. They want to vent the anger, no matter how much they feel that the boy or the girl may get or may not get when they are not there in the hands of the husband. If they could still feel that, look, it is still in the best interest of this boy to be with this man, the women never think like that. They want to take the child away. So sometimes it becomes an issue of a disagreement between the man and the woman. The man says, no, bear with my child. You stay with me. The woman says, no, you stay with her. There are rules of the Sharia regarding this. If it's a child that has not reached sinus tamyiz, the age of discerning, the child has not reached the age of discerning, the child will be with the woman as long as she has not remarried. A child that has not reached the age to be able to discern will be with the mother until the child is able to discern. If there is still disagreement amongst them, then after the child is able to discern, the child is made to choose where to stay. But the basic rule regarding that itself is that it does not have to go into a contest. The father and the mother of that child who were in marriage, who now became divorced, they should sit down to agree on what is best for the children. This is what Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah has said, that as far as the issue of Al-Hibana is concerned, taking over the child after separation is concerned, the basic interest is the interest of the child. So both parties should be patient enough to be able to resolve what is best for the child and agree on it. But many of the times emotions, overtake the two of them. The man can even say the child should go away with her. He's not ready to spend a dime on them. This is also another extreme way of handling the case from men. So if the child is a child that has reached sinus tamyiz, when there's a contest, then the child is made to determine where he or she wants to stay if there's a contest. But a better thing is that there should be no contest. There should be an agreement to what is best and it is in the best interest of that child. I hope that this matter is clear. So if now the woman takes the child away and then the mother or the mother takes the child away, and then the father sees that, oh, this is problem regarding this child. The father can go and seek to take the child away from the mother to gain protection from him against the evil that you just described in the question. He can go to take possession of the child. If there is still contest, then the father can report the case to the Sharia court. The Sharia court will investigate, because the basic rule with the Sharia court or institution is that the interest of the child comes first. So when they investigate it, then they can give the judgment appropriately whether the woman is incapable of handling that child. Then they will give the rulings and determine what next should happen to that child. So that kind of a male, if there is still contest and he finds it hard to be able to withdraw the child peacefully, he can approach a court and the court will give a ruling regarding where the child should stay after good enough investigations. I hope that this matter is clear, and I hope that we can stop here because we are at the dot of the time. May Allah protect us and make things easy for us. I think we can stop here, inshallah, by Yusuf. Ameen wa iyyakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.